Welcome to Story Experiential with Pixar.
The goal of this program is for you all to create stories. And the way we're going to start is pretty much the way Pixar artists start. We're starting this week with a what if statement.
A way to think about the what if question is it's the big idea. What if toys came to life when humans left the room?
What if there was an artist who could travel anywhere through their paintings, but they got artist block and they couldn't find their way back?
What if a snowflake wants to become a rainbow?
What if the boogeyman became the boogeyman?
One thing I would say before you start designing characters is you have to figure out the style. It's very important to figure out the style because that will not only reflect in the character but also in the environments.
And I think people as artists sometimes forget that you're in charge of what the audience sees. If you think of an audience member who might not have seen the trailer, Act 1 is so important. Where am I?
Once upon a time, there was a ghost that roamed the school all alone.
Every day, Bram spent his time learning all he could about cooking from his family and his idol, Chef Amar Rasoya.
Until one day she found a cottage in the woods. Going inside, she saw a fairy trapped in a jar. She had freed the fairy, angering the witch that lived there.
I think for me, personally, successful design comes from knowing your story.
Whenever I get a script or have an idea that I want to turn into a picture, I always first am asking myself, what am I trying to communicate? And I also ask myself, what's the emotion attached to that information?
What is this? I'm a real werewolf!
Hey, homie, what happened? Saul, run for the help.
How dare you!
Some people think that you have to know the moral before you start working on the film. Like you have to know the story spine, know the moral, know the logline, and then you can start drawing. Imagine your story is an adventure you're going on. And moral is more of the lesson you learned along the way of the journey.
Why do we just want to dance when we hear a good beat? Because our brains are programmed to hear a beat and respond to that. And I think editing, there's kind of a question-answer notion to a good beat, which is dun, 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 dun. And I think sometimes editing and the pacing can follow that, where you cut, cut, cut.
All people have an incredible capacity to see the humanity in others. And if you translate yourself or someone you love into a very specific character, people will find their way in.
Hi all, this is Olivia Cucci returning from week 4. Welcome to our Story Experiential exhibition and awards ceremony. The opportunity to work with you all and share the wonderful world of story has been such a privilege. You've all worked so hard, and this celebration is for you. Enjoy the show!
Hello, and welcome to Story Experiential Exhibition and Award Ceremony. I'm Dennis Henderson of the Story Experiential team, and I am honored to be your MC for this culminating live stream of our Fall 2022 session. Over the last 9 weeks, we've been impressed by your engaging questions and the support of one another's work, and had the pleasure of watching your stories progress and develop into your final submissions. The X in the Box team is ecstatic to recognize your dedication and hard work throughout the program. Congratulations to all of you for the hours you put in and for reaching the finish line. A job well done. Tonight, we will celebrate you and your final story reels. But first, I'd like to take a moment to thank Pixar for their generous support of the Story Experiential program, for their sponsorship of youth participants, and to our amazing Pixar artists for sharing their personal stories, insights, and guidance during our live streams. And from one educator to another, thank you to all of our educators and facilitators for the support you provided to your students throughout the experiential program as well. Now, on to our award ceremony. It is our absolute pleasure to take a moment to honor those participants who have been recognized with Story Experiential Awards. A challenging feat, amongst this creative global community. I'm very excited to announce our first award category, Excellence in Feedback. The Excellence in Feedback Award is being granted to the top 3 experiential participants who provide exemplary feedback to their peers for the duration of the program. I can speak for all of the X in the Box team when I say that this award is near and dear to our hearts, because feedback is a key part of creating stories at Pixar and for this program. The individuals we're about to recognize provide a total amount of 199,838 words of feedback during this session. Okay, drum roll. The first Excellence in Feedback Award goes to Isaac. The next Excellence in Feedback Award goes to Brian. And the final Excellence in Feedback Award goes to Miriam. Congratulations to all 3 of you, Isaac, Brian, and Miriam, for this distinguished recognition. Your efforts went a long way to create a supportive learning environment for the experiential community, so thank you. Now, moving right along to the second part of our award ceremony. These next awards were all determined by your votes, where you judge your peers' final submission on how compelling their story was, their use of visual storytelling, character development, and story structure. Your votes were then tallied to determine the top 3 submissions for Best Story Reel for our 2 cohorts, youth and adult participants. Not only will these winning participants walk away with a Story Experiential Award for Best Story Reel, but they're also going to receive an industry reaction video from my 2 colleagues, former Pixarians, Elise Kleidman and Tony DeRose. Please welcome Tony and Elise.
Hey, thanks, Dennis. This is always the funnest part of the whole program, where Elise and I get to react to these stories. We haven't seen them before, so we're seeing them with fresh eyes. And as a special treat, we're actually in the same place this time. So this should be even more fun.
Congratulations, everyone, for getting this far, for being part of this incredible creative community, for sharing your stories, for really opening up your hearts and humor and everything else and sharing them with us. I'm so excited to watch the next few and then all of the rest of them, which is going to take a while because there are a ton of incredible stories. So let's get started.
Let's get the popcorn.
Elise, Tony, I know you guys are excited and want to dive right into this. However, as a special treat, I'd like to bring back our Pixar story artist, Olivia Cucci, from week 4 to announce these awards for our youth cohort.
I am so excited to have the honor of announcing the Story Experiential Award for Best Story Reel to the top 3 peer-voted submissions in the youth cohort. The first Best Story Reel in the youth cohort goes to Kintsugi by Melissa.
I'm an idiot, I'm an idiot, I'm an idiot!
Hey! I didn't know that you're in ceramics.
Of course. I'm working on some ceramics stuff right now, but it's not finished.
Really? You could bring your artwork tomorrow so we can work together.
Huh? Sure. Great. See you tomorrow then, Amy.
See you then, Bastian.
Now how am I supposed to show an artwork? I can't even tie my shoes! Let's just grab something from Grandpa's workshop. Damn, all cracked and dusty. Oh, let me see. Ah, clay! My dear little Bastian, I wanted to make everything with this clay. Please put all your heart, but above all, be careful not to... Signed, Grandpa. That should do. Maybe like that? Why does everything have to be so hard? If only I had spent a little more time with Grandpa, I would have learned how to. Anyways, let's try something else. Yes! No. How did I think it was going to end well? I'm an idiot.
Kintsugi, there's just so much emotion throughout it. It's up, it's down. The music and especially the voice acting. The voice acting was just terrific. And so the sound really carries you. And you know the drawings are also very clear, super well staged. I just loved everything about it. There's a little nugget at the beginning where grandfather leaves kind of a hanging clue, and so that really brings you in, and then the payoff is really nice as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I want to jump on what you said about the staging. One thing that I thought was incredible was how simply and clearly our eye was directed. It's primarily in black and white. There's those little bits of red kind of punctuating emotion and helping us sometimes look where we need to look. But the visuals always took you where you needed to be looking. There was a kind of simplicity. And the other thing I wanted to say was that the sound effects, the voice acting was amazing, but the sound effects were just a huge part of my involvement in the story and my emotional connection to it, and absolutely critical. Such a really wonderful and fun story.
And speaking of the sound effects, it was a really light touch. It wasn't overwhelming, but it was just enough. Like, the crowd murmuring, just as an example.
Yeah, it fit with the tone of the story itself, right? It wasn't a story that was hitting you over the head. It was gentle and soft, and you sort of slowly went along with it. And both the sound and the visuals reinforced that.
And super cute.
Super cute.
The next best story reel in the youth cohort goes to Mr. Singh's Dream by Aryan.
Once upon a time, there was a grumpy and an angry teacher named Mr. Singh. Dun, 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 dun.
In his lifetime, he always wanted the trophy of Hall of Fame.
Mr. Singh is angry on the sun again. Ah! 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 Mr. Singh is always angry. And he doesn't have any patience. Students! But unfortunately, this year of Hall of Fame trophy goes to Mr. Lee. Ah! This year, again, Mr. Singh is unable to achieve his dream. Sadly, Mr. Singh's mother was ill and hospitalized. Mr. Singh is very sad now. Don't worry, my son, I am fine now.
Oh, why are you still upset, my son?
Actually, mother, a guy called Mr. Lee got the Hall of Fame trophy this year. I have only this final year to earn that trophy. I think I'm not a good teacher. That's why I have never received that trophy. No, you are a very good human being. But you need to learn calm your angerness and to gain patience. So there is a village called the Andhar village where no teacher has been pretend to go. I think you have to go to that village. But why, mother? Consider this as my last wish. I will go to that village, mother. And onward he sets his journey to Andhar village.
Mr. Singh's dream. I was laughing and smiling from literally the second it started. The comedic tone of the drawings, of the sound effects, of the pacing and the timing. I was so charmed. I was charmed by the character. Our main character has such clear wants and needs. So it's so beautiful, and we know okay, this is going to be a conflict throughout for this character. I thought that the way it all of a sudden turns serious, we're just laughing, and I'm thinking this is just going to be hilarious the whole way through, and then we get to something so important, education, and the fact that gets paired with our character's journey of getting to his need is just fantastic.
It was a really ambitious goal here. To first of all, to be humorous is really hard to pull off, and you did that. But as Elise said, you also made it really socially responsible in a really meaningful way. And relatability is another thing that really struck me about this. Who hasn't gone through frustrations like Mr. Singh, and you're striving to achieve something and it's just not happening. And I also thought this was kind of an interesting example of where his wants and needs kind of aligned. He wanted to get that trophy, and he ultimately got it, and in a really, really satisfying way. So congratulations.
Yeah, fantastic.
And the final best story reel in the youth cohort goes to Reflection, Nita's Story by Arij.
Finally. What is that? Is this a dream or something?
Nida, finish your breakfast. Nida, Nida. Today we will be discussing cardiovascular disorders. These disorders occur in the heart, and more specific,
Already time?
Hey Mom.
Hi.
Bye Mom.
Finally back. Now I just have to look into it, I guess. Oh, what if it doesn't work? No, get a hold. Just look at it. Oh, hi me. But what if... What? Ugh, my head. Huh? Whoa! Wait, I'm the princess?
Reflection. I just a really interesting allegory of, what it must be like to be, a teenager coming of age and having to deal with all the social pressures in your life, and just wanting to retreat into fantasy. And I think this is a really touching example of giving us real sincerity and real connection to somebody that's experiencing that. And the drawings were beautiful. There were some drawings of the princess that I thought reminded me a lot of design sketches from a really talented dressmaker. All the lines of the clothing were in just the right place, and it just read really, really clearly. I was a little bit confused at the beginning, but that's maybe good, because I felt like it was resolved at the end. I wasn't quite sure what was going on with her school life, but by the end I felt like, oh yeah, no, I get this. It makes sense.
Yeah, I also loved the reflection on inner life, and I liked how her own reflection was supported by the relationship with her mother. She could almost see parts of herself in her mother's emotional reaction, right? And I think that happens for all of us. We get caught up in our own inner lives, but when we see how our lives affect others, it helps us reflect back. So the reflection was happening in the mirror, the reflection was happening in her inner and outer lives, which I think was really strong. And I agree completely about the drawings. They also had this wonderful movement in them. You could feel, I love it when you can see the lines, and those lines make you feel the character's movement, and they're not so like just stiff, right? They're in motion. All of the pieces we've watched today have really been simple in some ways, in that they really focus us on what we need to be focused on without putting a lot of extra beautiful stuff. And you can see all of these folks have incredible talent, can draw and see color and everything, but they've really been sparing in helping us as the audience member look where we need to look. And I think Reflection did a really beautiful job on that, with very subtle tones of color and lovely line work.
Yeah, all three of these has been just really well crafted, not just the artwork and the storytelling, but also the use of sound. They're all, had, wonderful music selection and a little bit of sound effect. So just professional grade craftsmanship here.
Yeah, and I love also how human they all are. I mean, one of the things I just love about this program is in the storytelling, in everybody's stories, we are feeling our humanity, and we're seeing things that we can all relate to. And sometimes they make us smile, and sometimes they make us want to cry, but we see each other, and that's really special.
Congratulations to Marissa, Ariana, and Arish for your incredible, well-deserved achievement. You should be proud of yourselves for creating something so special. Keep on creating. Bye.
All right, on to our next category. We are pleased to recognize our adult participants in the category of Best Story Reel. Elise, Tony, I know you guys are ready to dive into this. However, I'd like to bring back another special guest to join us and announce these awards in our adult cohort. Please welcome Pixar story artist, Anna Benedict, returning from our Week 7 live stream. Anna?
Hi all, this is Anna joining you once again. You've made it to the end! I hope each of you is very proud of what you've accomplished here. Story is hard work, so well done. I am thrilled to have the privilege to announce the Story Experiential Award for Best Story Reel, going to the top 3 peer-voted submissions in the adult cohort. The first Best Story Reel in the adult cohort goes to Piper's Story by Chelsea. Woo.
Once upon a time, there was a shy young artist named Piper. Piper attends an art school and is constantly surrounded by a bunch of other talented, confident artists. She looks at their work, looks at hers, and ultimately compares herself. She wants to be as good as them, so she develops a perfectionist mindset. She has a few friends that she confides in, and they try to push her to relax and enjoy the process, but she can't seem to grasp that concept. And so, Piper glues herself to her desk, draws, overworks herself, and tries to keep up with her classmates, but soon discovers how much she doesn't enjoy her passion anymore. She burns herself out. She grows depressed and opts to stay inside instead of hanging out with her friends. It feels like she's lost everything she cared about. Every day, Piper is reminded of how much she doesn't enjoy drawing anymore, and how much she used to love it as a child. Piper grabs some of her old sketchbooks and pictures from her younger years and flips through them. She reminisces of the times when she created without fear, without comparison, when she had fun drawing. She's inspired by her old art. She decides that she wants to try anything to get that spark back. And so, she sits at her desk for the first time in months and tries to come up with a new idea. Piper tries to brainstorm and draw and ultimately ends up getting too wrapped up in the mistakes and gives up. Piper wrestles with her mind. She faces the hard decision of whether or not she'll continue to pursue her passion of drawing or find her new passion. Until one day, Piper decides that drawing isn't her thing anymore. She succumbs to her realization that she'll have to find another spark, something new that she can love and enjoy doing. And so, Piper goes even more weeks without drawing. She doesn't even try. One night, Piper gets a text from one of her friends inviting her to the park for a fun activity. Piper feels guilty because she hasn't hung out with them in months. She loves them and misses being with them. Because of that, Piper grabs her things and heads to the park to meet her friends. The fun activity is revealed to be something called light painting. Piper sits and watches her friends go at it for a while. One of her friends manages to convince her to try. She can't get it right the first few times, but then she keeps trying. She manages to finish one, but considers it a mess up. She inevitably lets her perfectionism get the best of her yet again. She's discouraged. She's not having fun and is convinced that this won't be where she finds her new spark either. She decides that she doesn't want to try anymore and would rather go home. Because of that, Piper starts packing up her things to leave until she's stopped by a bright light. Her mess up comes to life. Piper and her friends are enamored. Piper can't believe that something she messed up on could be so beautiful and full of life.
Piper. I can so totally relate to that story. As an artist, this story is such a beautiful universal theme about trusting yourself and finding your passion and not judging ourselves. And it's also such an incredible story for what this program is about. So I loved it thematically, and visually it's breathtaking. It's so simple storyboard lines, very spare in the beginning, very clear what we need to be focused on. We feel the emotions. And then as the story advances and as she's finding her passion, the color and the way the color comes in and the way the color just bursts into joy and celebration in the end of this film is magnificent.
One of the things I liked about the use of color here is the reflection of the color on the characters. It was just at the silhouettes, and it I thought really helped to sell the idea that the color and the light was in the environment, and the environment and the characters were reacting to it. One other thing that struck me is this piece was narrated. And I think that was a very smart choice because it's relatively short. It's only about 4 minutes, and the story's pretty complicated. And the narration was really able to drive the story forward in a short period of time in a very clear way. So a really, really smart choice, really effective.
Yeah, one other thing that I love about this story is how making mistakes was celebrated, right? So she was so not happy with her light painting, and that light painting is what brought her finding her joy again. And so we just never know, do we, where that joy and where that spark is going to come from.
The next best story reel in the adult cohort goes to Ruby.co by Anaya.
Yes, baby? I don't feel good. Don't worry. Mommy's here. You'll feel all better soon. Am I going to go away like Daddy? Don't say that. No one's going to go away. Okay, Luca? Promise? I promise. Mommy's right here. Always. Always. Hmm? Hello there. Can I help you? No, my dear. The question you should be asking is how may I help you? What? Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Director Damien Morelli of Ruby Co. Blood Bank. We understand how difficult getting the correct medical attention can be, but Ruby Co. is here to help folks like you. This will probably be shocking to you, but don't take this the wrong way, Miss Sarah. After today, I hope you still accept my offer. Oh, you're a vampire?
Holy cow. What an original story. You know, the vampire trope has been done over and over and over again. I thought there was no room, for a fresh take on it, but this really was. I mean, what a terrible choice, a parent, was faced with in that kind of situation. And to have to make that choice in this kind of world, I think this is one of the best examples of world building that we've seen so far, in all the sessions of the program that we've created. Early on, was it mystery? Is it horror? I felt like it was in Twilight Zone, but slowly and steadily the pages got peeled back, and just a really satisfying, really unexpected. I just loved it. Great work.
Yeah, I was at the very beginning also thinking, okay, wait, what genre is this? It starts off so dramatically. I'm completely engrossed in the story from the very, very beginning. It's extremely dramatic and mysterious. And there's those sounds, those hospital sounds in the background, which I think, for everybody just makes your heart start beating. And yeah, that the choice as a parent, and I couldn't, I kept thinking, what's the happy ending going to be? Is there going to be a happy ending? And is that choice to become a vampire? I know I've said this about a number of pieces, but also a lot of the storyboarding was really simple, what seemed like maybe unfinished, but it was all that was necessary. And then there were a handful of really finished drawings that just filled everything else in for you. It's like, oh, I know what this is going to look like. I see the craftsmanship that's going to come. And it reminded me of watching story reels at Pixar, where some of it would be completely finished and some of it would be barely a sketch, but it didn't matter. What mattered was the storytelling, the pacing, the emotion that we felt throughout the process. And boy, I felt like we went on quite an emotional ride. And the incredible punctuation of one basic color being used was really, really powerful.
In terms of visual storytelling, I think one of my favorite moments was the scene where she's in the office and he sets a glass down, and it's framed. She's framed within the glass, and then he pours the wine. And at that moment, this is not going to go well. This is going to get scary. And it did. It was just a really nice little bit of visual storytelling.
Yeah, and then there's that moment where she realizes his pain and the empathy, the relationship, how it changes just in that moment between the two of them, because they have a shared, deeply painful experience. Very, very moving and original.
Super original.
Yeah, beautiful storytelling.
And the final best story reel in the adult cohort goes to Bodega Cat by Sarah and Patrice. Yay!
Thanks, man. Have a good one. Hmm. Hmm. Ah. Hmm.
Bodega. I was smiling the whole time. I think the first thing I want to talk about is how appealing the character of the ghost cat is. With the simplest of lines and the simplest of expressions, I'm in love with that cat from the first moment. It's just charming. And the whole story is the timing of the story, the way the action takes place, the reactions, just the amount of time you wait between reactions and discoveries is so well done. The music is also perfectly timed with how we are led through this story and made to feel. Great storyboards, really sophisticated staging, cinematography, what point of view we're looking at the story from and how that shifts and changes is really fantastic. And I was entertained and I was amused and I'm following the story, but it really wasn't until the very end that I completely understood that this story was about loneliness and about finding companionship. And it was so well done. And the ending just, I started with a laugh and I ended with a laugh, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. What a great what if. I grew up with cats. I'm kind of a cat person, and I suspect that the storytellers here are cat people because they got all the mannerisms of cats just right. One that I loved was the cat, sitting on top of the counter, nudging the jar toward the edge. It's just nailed catness. It was cute, it was touching, and then the twist when the robber comes in was completely unexpected, and so the emotional twist that the character goes through, I thought was really perfectly timed. The pacing of the whole story was just really spot on, and then you get the touching family emotion at the end and think, okay, that's done. And then there's that beautiful little payoff at the end where he's apparently delusional. So just a really nice cherry on top, and even the credits were great. So just great work all around.
It's funny just now when you said the payoff and he's obviously delusional, because I read it as everybody else was delusional. I mean, I know it's the ghost cat, but I totally believe that relationship.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Anaya, Chelsea, Sarah, and Patrice for your outstanding achievement. All right, let's go, Heimlich.
We have one additional award category because there were so many incredible final submissions this session, and the votes were all really close. We wanted to make a point to acknowledge 2 additional awardees with a special recognition award. Joining us tonight to announce our final category, the Story Xperiential Special Recognition Award. Please welcome back Pixar artist from week 9, Andy Jimenez.
Hi, everybody. This is Andrew Jimenez. Congratulations to the participants for finishing the program.
This reminds me of back when I was in film school and finishing our projects, our assignments up to our final screening, how much that really meant to me. So much so that even to this day, I've kept my 16 millimeter film print that ran through the projectors that day. Because of how much that meant to me, I'm honored I have the privilege of announcing the Story Xperiential Special Recognitions Awards. The Special Recognition Award in the youth cohort goes to Top Hog by Scotty.
In a not-so-distant future, the militaries of the globe moved away from manned and unmanned flights to animal pilots, thus resulting in a world where not only can pigs fly, they are the best pilots. One of these pig pilots, Captain Samuel L. Jackson, rose above the ranks to earn the title of Top Hog. For his valor and skill, it is my honor and privilege to bestow the distinction of Top Hog to Captain Samuel L. Jackson. Thank you, Colonel. What an honor. I'd like to say it's a surprise, but let's be honest. Was anyone else as deserving of this title? I mean, credit where credit is due, am I right? Woohoo! I feel the need for feed. Highway to the manger zone. Whoops! Look alive there, Goose. These skills just can't be contained. Jackson, you're talented, no doubt. But if you don't learn to rein in those flyboy antics, you're gonna get yourself killed. Or worse, someone else. The next time I have to reprimand you, your butt is bacon. Squadron, please join me in giving a warm welcome to your new squad member, Private Wilbur Porkins. Howdy, folks. It's a real honor to be in the big leagues. Can you believe it? A pig who isn't a glory hog? What an unexpected and refreshing change of pace. I'll say, and how. This task force ain't pig enough for the two of us. What do you say, gang? Let's hear it for the new guy. 3 cheers for Porkins. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!
The Special Recognition Award in the adult cohort goes to The Scarecrow Meet Jack Squash by Anna.
Our story begins in a town called Tumbleweed, a small oasis town which is surrounded by a harsh desert. Tumbleweed can be considered a paradise to some, however, has seen its fair share of trouble. Where trouble appears, it has been quickly solved by a courageous sheriff that protects it. Well, until now. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jack Squash. Currently, I'm training on being the next sheriff of Tumbleweed, learning from my pappy, Sheriff Squash. Unlike the sheriffs before me, I'm not exactly sheriff material. Excuse me, could you guys please stop? Every day I try my best to help Pappy with chores around town, but I can't quite get the hang of them. Often I end up in a situation that makes Pappy send me home. Once I'm home, I like to play pretend. I have a small training ground in our backyard where I like to practice shooting my slingshot and using my homemade gadgets, just like my favorite superhero, Cabbage Man. Every night before bed, I like to read, but most times I get in trouble for reading past my bedtime. Until one day, everything was about to change in the town of Tumbleweed when a gang of outlaw crows spotted it.
Congratulations to Scotty and Anna for this impressive achievement. It takes so much hard work, dedication, and artistry to go through this, finish it, and continue forward. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this and speak to you and also be inspired by your work.
Congratulations to all of our awardees for your excellence and feedback, Best Story Reel, and Special Recognition Awards. And to all of you, congratulations. You should give yourselves a big round of applause for creating original story reels to add to your portfolios as you continue to pursue your aspirations. Thank you, Elise, Tony, Olivia, Anna, and Andy for joining our exhibition and award celebration tonight. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. As a reminder, for those of you that completed this program, if you submitted your final story reel, you will receive a certificate of completion from the Story Experiential team and your very own dedicated exhibition page. Additionally, you will have access to this platform forever, whenever you want it. So therefore, share it with the world. Be proud. Lastly, the show is being recorded. It will be posted to the exhibition page, which is a public page, which I will go back again and say, share, showcase your work. Thank you for a wonderful session, and we hope to see you back again in March. That's a wrap. I'm going this way. Hold on. As a reminder, you own the story reels that you created during this program. Put them out there.